Ruthie from FS Securities, a stockbroking firm on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And today I really want to take you through the market report that we put onto our website and tell you that there is a lot of information that if you are a trader or an investor, you will find of great benefit to you. What you see at the moment are all the sections that happen to be included in the market report. And all you have to do is click on any of those, and of course you get directly to the area that might be of interest to you. For instance, if you want to know which sector is doing well, you just click on the ASX sectors latest. Then if you want to see what is most active and what is the week high and low over the last 52 weeks, there is a lot of information. There is the Aussie dollar update and advances and decline and volume and upcoming dividends. So all you have to do is you will find at the end of this presentation how to get onto the website. First of all, I give you also some education section at the beginning of the report, and every so often I change it and let you be aware of what's going on. Okay, we start here with the chart. You can see the Dow Jones, the weekly on the left hand side and the daily on the right hand side. So you can have the big picture and then you can see what's happening in the last few days. And obviously there are some indicators. For instance, the orange dotted line here, that is actually the 9 period on the weekly chart. That's the 9-week moving average, and the black is actually the 21-week moving average. If you go here to the daily, that top one orange is actually the 21, and the black is the 9-day, and the black one is the 21. We also give you long-term perspective. We give you the 50, the 100 and 200 day moving average. And again, if you want to learn about how to read those signals, all you have to do is call us. We run a lot of education programs to teach you how to read signals from the charts. So if we want to try to interpret what's going on here, well, obviously the parabolic stop and reverse, that is the dot on the top of the candle, is starting to show you that on the weekly chart there is starting to show a negative or bearish momentum. All those dotted below the candles were very positive, and we look like we're starting to see a change in the momentum. Obviously we need to have another dot to confirm the first trend change. On the daily chart, and of course if you look at the daily chart, you must be an aggressive trader or maybe a conservative trader. And if you look at the monthly or the weekly, obviously you may be an investor, a long-term investor. So looking at the chart here, you see for the last 4 days the parabolic stop and reverse, the dots above the candle showing you a negative momentum. And you can see that the 9-day over the 21-day moving averages is starting to converge and most likely will cross over, which of course is confirming that the momentum has changed. We also tell you some part of the education program. If you're trading the Aussie dollar foreign exchange, we look at the various indicators and we teach you to see when is the time to sell and when is the time to buy by looking at the indicators on the chart and determining the trend. Here we also give you a perspective about the Australian dollar versus the gold, and we tell you that if you look at the Australian dollar, there is a bearish momentum here, and gold, because of what happened, remember gold about a few months ago was trading below 1500, and recently is trading around the 1572 US per ounce, which obviously is a bullish indicator. And by the way, usually we're trying to promote here that the Australian dollar usually works in opposite correlation, negative correlation to gold. Gold goes up, usually the US dollar has got an effect on it as well. So it's very important to actually compare what's happening to the Australian dollar versus gold. We also give you our mechanical system, the weekly mechanical system about the American market and the various commodities. And again, we show you on the weekly side what is the momentum for the investor versus the conservative trader, aggressive trader, and very aggressive trader. And we show you week after week. We tell you exactly what's happening on our recommendation mechanical system based on the indicators that we have on the chart. And you can see here that crude oil has been for the last 3 weeks. This is actually presented every weekend at the start of the week, and we see that for the very aggressive trader who is in and out of the market frequently versus the investor who is actually in the market for the long term, for crude oil it's bearish for the very aggressive trader. And for gold, we see that we were actually bullish to turn into bearish 2 weeks ago, and last weekend we started to tell you that gold for the investor is likely to turn into a bullish trend. Again, if you want a copy of that slide, all you have to do is go to the website and have a trial for 15 days, and you can actually get all this information for free for 15 days. Again, further education part of our trading. So you see how we can actually give you some reversal, when to enter the market, when to start taking profit, and when to get out of the market. On the foreign exchange, by the way, we have 2 major indicators that happen to be leading indicators, happen to be the parabolic stop and reverse and the stochastic. If parabolic stop and reverse and stochastic mean nothing to you, all you have to do in the training is to look at the chart and interpret those indicators, and that's what we teach in our programs. Here for the sectors, again we do the same thing on a weekly basis as well as daily basis, and we tell you what we see, which sector is performing better. At the moment our market most likely is actually on a bullish trend, and you know that the last few weeks we've seen our Australian market hitting an all-time high. This is now, we take the top 20 sectors and we tell you exactly what's happening in the various stock. CBA has turned bearish, and TCL, that's Transurban, Westpac and Wesfarmers turned bearish. However, if you want to trade something very strongly, BHP continues to be very strong, CIMIC, the All Leighton Holdings, Santos, Telstra and TPG, Worley, Woolworth and WPL. Alright, here now we show you the daily, and in the daily we try to tell you that this is actually what happened yesterday. The XAO was up by 37 points, and you can see that for the last 3 days we have had indicators to tell you that we were bullish. BHP for the long-term investor was bullish, continues to be bullish. However, if you are a very aggressive trader, we start to tell you that maybe it's time to take some profit out of the market if you're making some money. CIMIC, that's the Old Leighton Holdings, was up yesterday. By the way, these are daily movement, and these are usually taking into consideration the various indicators over the last many days, and of course there are several indicators that take time to change because there are some lagging indicators and some leading indicators. As a matter of interest for you, we're now actually moving our mechanical system into artificial intelligence, which will actually improve those indicators based on putting further weight on the various indicators to come up with a better recommendations. Remember that our mechanical system, it does not tell you where is the penthouse and the bottom floor. However, if you have seen that the market has reached an all-time high, got onto the penthouse and started to drop, and you get out on the 20th floor, because we cannot always determine where is the peak of the market and the trough. So as long as you leave some money on the table and you make some money coming down on the 20th floor and get into the lift on the second or third or fourth floor, having missed out on the bottom floor and missed out on the penthouse. Okay, this is actually our chart for our market. That's the ASX 200. You have the weekly and the daily. You can see, for instance, the daily. Yesterday we had a good day. However, the mechanical system here showing you the parabolic stop and reverse, despite the green candle, which show a rise in the market, still bearish. And again, if you look at the stochastic also bearish. It's dropped below the 80. The blue line is the stochastic, and it's below the red line. That is very much a negative momentum. So don't get confused with the green candle. Remember that the indicators will help you to determine the overall trend of the market. And again, in our education program, we teach you how to look at those indicators and determine the trend. Okay, this is actually various information about what happened overnight. We give you all the data for all the commodities and all the foreign exchange, so at least you know what happened overnight in one big picture, so you don't really have to go on and search for it. It's already there. And again, we tell you again in terms of numbers what happened on Wall Street. That is actually more or less telling you what happened, what we've shown you on the chart, the previous slide, with all numbers. Well, here you can see a bit more information. We give you also the iron ore price, which will happen to be a major factor on the price of BHP, Rio and Fortescue. And remember that iron ore is traded mainly for our benefit on the Chinese market, and because the Chinese market at the moment this week is closed because of the lunar annual leave holidays, it's closed for the whole week, and iron ore is not being traded, so that's why it's not available. But we also show you more information about the 33% of our stocks advanced and 22% declined, the best performing stock and also the worst performing stock. And because all our listeners and audience like to know what's going on with Telstra, we've got Telstra's price on a daily basis. We also tell you again on the Bitcoin, for people who are trading Bitcoin, what happened to Bitcoin overnight. What information, global announcement that will affect the market? Well, nothing on the Australian market, with the exception that tonight we're going to see various information coming from the British market as well as the US market. GDP quarter on quarter for the US will be an important announcement, so we keep an eye on that. We also week on week we tell you what happened on the various charts. On a daily basis, again the 33% rise in the market, but look, the volume was down yesterday, even though the advances exceeded the declines. But look, the volume was low. And the day before, when we had 46% of all the stocks declined, look at the volume. So again, it helps you to be more intelligent, to have a good sense of the market movement. On the right hand side, you've got again on a week on week, the declines exceeded the advances. That's week on week. I do know that the information on the market report happened to be quite excessive, but you don't really need to go on every page. The very first page that you come across will tell you exactly what you're looking for, and you click on it and you go straight to the page of interest. So you don't really have to spend a lot of time on areas that happen to be of not so much of interest to you. Last but not least, we like to actually show you that there is an important part of our research, volume. What we see on the chart at the moment, week on week, all the companies of the top 50 stocks that happen to have excessive volume. For instance, Fortescue last week had 130% or 129% above its average volume. Like the average volume over 50 weeks was 79 million transactions. Well, last week we've seen 103 million, and the price gone up by 9.4%. When the price goes up and the volume is above the average volume, this is actually a signal for you to go and do further analysis and determine whether it's really worthwhile looking at that particular stock. Another stock that has gone up quite a bit, Mervac. It's gone up by 6% last week. However, the volume was slightly above the average volume. And if you are an aggressive trader, we're down below here. We've got the mid cap. And again, this is the weekly, week on week. Data tree, number 3, has actually had an increase of price of 5.5% increase in the price. And look at the volume, nearly 300% excessive volume above the average. It's worthwhile looking at. By the way, data number 3 cannot be traded on CFDs on our platform, CMC platform. However, you may want to buy the shares directly if you want to go for the long term as well. But this is actually for the aggressive trader. And if you want to go bearish, this company here, Cardno, had 261% of its average volume, and it's dropped nearly 6%. Jumbo Interactive had very high volume, and the price dropped by 10%. Again, all this information happens to be available to you on the website. Again, on day, every day, we show you not only the weekly, what we've seen at the beginning of the week, but also the daily. Yesterday, Amcor had 2% rise in the price and had 75% above its average volume. The average volume over 50 days was 3.1 million, and yesterday we've seen 5.5 million transactions taking place. Again, it may be worthwhile looking at Amcor. And so is Sonic, 2% rise in the price and 42% above its average volume. For the very aggressive, we don't have anything on the bearish side, but if you look at, for instance, these companies have had, this is actually slightly above the average. 1.72 was the previous price, went up to 1.74. So the price is actually steady, but look at the volume, 400% of the average volume. Again, it's maybe worthwhile looking at. Again, we also give you the top gainers and the top losers, what happened the day before, and the 52-week high and the 52-week low, to give you some more perspective about the market. And every weekend we also tell you what happened for the major markets, the foreign exchange, also the various commodities, what happened, the changes from 1 week to week, and also 2 week in collective change. For instance, if you look at gold, over 2 weeks went up by $15.2 US per ounce, and that actually a 2 week change. But last week the price of gold went up by 21.1, which tells you straight away that the week before the price was down, because collectively it's $15 rise, but only 21 rise last week. So you can actually see the trend has moved up from very low and bearish to very good positive. And you go through the silver, West Texas crude oil, various other energy commodities, and also wheat, corn, soybeans. And if you look at what's happening in China, well, China is not buying soybeans at the moment from the US simply because they are on holidays. And of course there is also the coronavirus, which stops flights and import and so on, which affect the market as well. So again, if you really want a copy of these information, it's happened to be available on the market report. And again, we give you the changes week on week and over 2 weeks for our Australian market. You see here all the sectors, so you can tell which sector is performing the best, and then you go on the right hand side and you see which stock has actually performed the best over 1 week and over 2 weeks collectively. Again, there is a lot of information here, and there are a lot of charts. There is, yeah, no. So I mean, I know you may not have time to look at everything that we show, and it's up to you what you look for. If you want to know what company is actually going to pay the dividends, again, the X date, how much it's franked, the amount of dividend that you expect to get, and the yield, and whether it's interim or final dividends. Finally, before I go, I want to tell you that everything I said, this is me wearing my university hat just to know what I look like. I want to tell you that there is a disclaimer. The disclaimer is that everything I've said here today is only of general advice only. Everything I said, you need to check it out. Talk to us or talk to your professional advisor, because there is no guarantee in the market. There are too many variables and there is risk. You need to understand the risk and the award and the reward, and to know whether you have a risk appetite that can do the very risky some trade. Okay, that's all from us here. And by the way, if you want to talk to us, all you have to do is go to our website, which is www.fssecurities.com.au. FS stands for full service. fssecurities.com.au, and you can call me on my mobile 61 for the country code, and if you're ringing from overseas you don't need the first 0 in my phone, so you ring 61 and then directly into 411-259526. 61-411-259526. I'm available almost 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So happy trading, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. And if you have any feedback, by all means, give us a call and let us know how you enjoyed it. Have a good day.